Proverbs chapter 25, Wisdom in Leadership, Relationships, and Self-Control. Proverbs chapter 25 marks a new section in the book, a collection of Solomon's wise sayings that were later copied and preserved by the men of King Hezekiah of Judah. This connection across generations highlights the timelessness of godly wisdom, truth that remains valuable regardless of era or circumstance. The chapter weaves together insights about leadership, humility, speech, self-control, and human relationships, presenting a mosaic of guidance for living wisely in community and before God. The opening verses set the tone by contrasting the glory of God and that of kings. It is said that God's glory lies in concealing matters, while kings find their honor in searching them out. This shows that divine wisdom is far beyond human comprehension. God hides certain truths in mystery, while leaders are called to uncover and understand the things entrusted to them, seeking justice and discernment. The following verse likens the heart of kings to the vastness of the heavens and the depths of the earth, expressing that leadership and human motives are often complex and not easily understood. A wise ruler, therefore, must rule with careful thought and moral clarity. The next few verses turn attention to purity and justice in leadership. Just as a silversmith removes dross to purify silver, a king must remove the wicked from his presence to establish his throne in righteousness. Corruption weakens authority, but integrity strengthens it. This is followed by an appeal to humility before those in power. One should not exalt oneself or seek prominence in the presence of a king. Instead, it is better to wait and be invited upward than to face the embarrassment of being lowered. This teaching mirrors the humility that Jesus later emphasized, warning against pride and self-promotion. Solomon then turns to the theme of conflict and discretion. One should not be quick to rush into disputes or public accusations. It is wiser to reason privately with a neighbor and to avoid spreading secrets or gossip. Acting hastily or betraying confidences brings shame and ruins reputations. The wise person handles disagreements with calmness, fairness, and self-restraint. Closely related to this is the value of well-chosen words. A word spoken at the right time and in the right spirit is compared to apples of gold in settings of silver, beautiful, precious, and enduring. In the same way, wise correction given to someone who listens is as valuable as fine jewelry, enriching both the giver and the receiver. Faithfulness and sincerity are next commended. A dependable messenger is like the cooling snow during harvest, refreshing and life-giving to those who depend on him. In contrast, someone who boasts of generosity but never follows through is like clouds without rain, full of promise but yielding nothing. The proverb about patience teaches that gentle persistence can persuade even a ruler and that soft speech can achieve what harshness cannot. True strength lies not in force but in self-control and forbearance. The chapter continues with practical lessons about moderation and social boundaries. Honey, though sweet and good, can make one sick if eaten in excess. In the same way, one should not visit a neighbor too often, lest familiarity breed annoyance. Moderation and sensitivity preserve peace in relationships. Solomon also warns against false witness, comparing deceitful testimony to dangerous weapons. Trusting an unreliable person in times of need is equally damaging, like depending on a broken tooth or a dislocated foot. Moreover, attempting to cheer a sorrowful person with light-hearted songs is as inappropriate as taking away a coat in winter. Wisdom includes knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. The chapter reaches a moral peak in its teaching about kindness toward enemies. If your enemy is hungry or thirsty, you should feed and refresh him. By showing kindness, one may awaken his conscience and bring shame to his hostility, heaping coals of fire on his head. Such mercy reflects God's own character, who rewards those who act righteously even toward those who wrong them. Gossip, however, destroys peace just as surely as a storm brings rain, while a quarrelsome spirit poisons the home. It is said to be better to live alone on the corner of a roof than to share a house with a contentious partner, a vivid picture of the misery caused by constant strife. Toward the end, Solomon speaks of the joy of good news, comparing it to cold water for a weary soul. Encouragement and positive reports bring life to the spirit. Yet, when a righteous person compromises or gives way to the wicked, it is as disappointing and damaging as a polluted spring or a muddy well. What should refresh instead becomes defiled. The chapter concludes with reflections on moderation and self-control. Too much honey, again, symbolizes excess. Just as indulgence is unwise, so too is self-glorification. A person who lacks control over his emotions or desires is like a city without walls, defenseless and exposed to ruin. Self-mastery, therefore, is a form of protection and strength. Altogether, Proverbs 25 offers a vivid portrait of wisdom in action, wisdom that governs speech, tempers ambition, and shapes relationships with humility and grace. It reminds us that true honor is not seized but bestowed, that strength often appears in gentleness, and that self-control is the foundation of a secure and honorable life. These sayings, though ancient, remain strikingly relevant, calling each reader to pursue righteousness, humility, and discernment in every sphere of life.
Chapter 25. These also are Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah king of Judah copied. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. As the heavens for height and the earth for depth, so the heart of kings is unsearchable. Take away the dross from silver, and it will go to the silversmith for jewelry. Take away the wicked from before the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness. Do not exalt yourself in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great. For it is better that he say to you, Come up here, than that you should be put lower in the presence of the prince whom your eyes have seen. Do not go hastily to court, for what will you do in the end when your neighbor has put you to shame? Debate your case with your neighbor, and do not disclose the secret to another, lest he who hears it expose your shame, and your reputation be ruined. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver. Like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold is a wise rebuker to an obedient ear. Like the cold of snow in time of harvest is a faithful messenger to those who send him, for he refreshes the soul of his masters. Whoever falsely boasts of giving is like clouds and wind without rain. By long forbearance a ruler is persuaded, and a gentle tongue breaks a bone. Have you found honey? Eat only as much as you need, lest you be filled with it and vomit. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house, lest he become weary of you and hate you. A man who bears false witness against his neighbor is like a club, a sword, and a sharp arrow. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a bad tooth and a foot out of joint. Like one who takes away a garment in cold weather, and like vinegar on soda is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For so will you heap coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you. The north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue, an angry countenance. It is better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than in a house shared with a contentious woman. As cold water to a weary soul, so is good news from a far country. A righteous man who falters before the wicked is like a murky spring and a polluted well. It is not good to eat much honey, so to seek one's own glory is not glory. Whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls.